I never thought I'd say this, but for the first time in my life, Ferrari released a car that didn't immediately feel beautiful to me. Now, beauty is subjective. Many people hate the new Ferrari Luce, including me. Some people love it. Fair play to them, easily pleased, I guess. Either way, Ferrari benefited in some way from the massive global reaction. Even its share price bounced back. It's currently a little higher than before the Luce was released.
And this is the question that the Luce made me ask.
Has Ferrari started drifting away from the design philosophy that made it special in the first place? And to answer that question, we need to go back long before Ferrari even became Ferrari.
Ferrari is often treated as if it invented the Italian sports car.
But long before the prancing horse became a global icon,
another Italian brand was already shaping the relationship between beauty, performance, and emotion.
Alfa Romeo. Before founding Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari raced for Alfa. Later, he managed Alfa Romeo's racing activities through Scuderia Ferrari. The history between the two brands is well documented.
I'm interested in the philosophy that emerged from this relationship.
Because many of the qualities that people associate with Ferrari today, or maybe pre-Luce, were already present in Alfa Romeo decades earlier.
When people talk about performance cars,
they usually talk about horsepower, top speed, lap times, and acceleration. The Italians understood that performance mattered, but they also understood that cars are emotional objects. The best Italian cars were designed to make you feel something. Look at the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Even standing still, it feels alive. The proportions, the stance, the way the light moves across the bodywork. This was sculpture with an engine. And that philosophy would go on to influence generations of Italian performance cars. If Alfa Romeo helped establish the philosophy, Ferrari became its ultimate expression. Over the decades, Ferrari produced some of the most beautiful performance cars ever created.
At least in my opinion.
This is because they understood how to combine both beauty and performance. When you look at the 250 GT, an F40, a 550 Maranello, or a 458 Italia, they all feel unmistakably Ferrari.
Different eras, different technologies, even different designers.
Yet there's a consistency to the emotional experience. These cars feel dramatic, they feel theatrical, they feel Italian.
And that's harder to achieve than it sounds because it has very little to do with spec.
And almost everything to do with identity. Today, Ferrari faces challenges that its predecessors never had to deal with. Regulations, aerodynamics, safety requirements, digital experiences, and yes, even electrification. Every manufacturer is navigating the same pressures. And none of those things are inherently bad, but they do create a risk that optimization slowly replaces character, that efficiency starts to outweigh emotion, and that cars begin to feel globally designed instead of culturally designed. And for Ferrari, that's a particularly dangerous risk. Other brands can boast equal or better horsepower, exclusivity, even heritage. But Ferrari tops many people's lists when it comes to emotion. Which brings me back to the Luce. The Luce is important because it made me pause.
For the first time, I found myself looking at a Ferrari and asking the question that I never thought I'd really had to ask before.
If you remove the badges, would this still feel unmistakably Italian? Would it still feel like the product of the same design culture that gave us the Dino, the Daytona, the F40?
Maybe the answer is yes, and maybe history will prove me completely wrong.
But the fact that the question exists at all feels significant to me, because Ferrari has spent decades building cars that never needed to explain their identity. You could simply see it. Ferrari's emotional design philosophy emerged from a rich Italian tradition that existed long before it became the world's most famous performance car manufacturer. A tradition that Alfa Romeo helped define.
That's why the relationship between these two brands still matters today.
Beyond its history, or even beyond Enzo Ferrari himself, it reminds us what made Italian performance cars special in the first place. The challenge for Ferrari now is preserving the emotional identity that made people fall in love with the brand over the decades.
And if Ferrari can do that, the future will take care of itself.
But if it can't, it risks losing the very thing that made it Ferrari in the first place.